What's up, y'all, and welcome back to Okay, so you guys probably seen the trigger warning and PSA that I posted yesterday, right? I posted at the beginning of this week. Well, same thing still applies. Everything I said in that video applies to these next few episodes, right? I don't know if I'm going to insert the PSA. I want to get this topic over and done with, right? I don't want to be editing and talking on this topic for 30 minutes an episode because it is, I just don't want to keep talking about this, right? Like, and it could just be because I haven't healed from it. I don't know, but I don't want to keep talking about this. So I'm going to try to say everything that the Holy Spirit wants me to say in the quickest way possible so that I can move on to something else, okay? So today's topic is, I don't know the topic. I don't know the name of this topic. If I'm being honest, there is no, it's not just one topic, right? I can't think, as of right now, I can't think of a title for this topic because there are going to be a lot of things that we unpack within this topic. I can't think of one word to describe this topic, right? So every day it may be a new topic. However, I feel like they all tie in and go in together. Most of you may know the Holy Spirit, God has given me an assignment to start a series called Culture and Generational Curses. The Holy Spirit led me to start this topic, to start this series a while ago. He gave me this assignment, and I talked about it on my personal TikTok page. This is the video. If you want to know a little bit more on what I mean by culture and generational curses and, what this assignment is, you can go watch this video, right? But today's topic within that series is spirit spouses. Like I said, the Holy Spirit has been preparing me for probably 3 days or so that I was going to be speaking on this topic, right? However, I've been more focused on a very particular part that we'll talk about a little later. That's a little heavy for me. I've been trying to avoid it. I've been asking God for several different signs on, are you really telling me to do this video? Because I really don't want to do it, right? It's really heavy for me. I feel like it's getting a little bit too deep into my personal business, right? And I don't like to put my personal business out there. But as the Holy Spirit has been reminding me of what someone has said, and I may be saying it a little wrong, but the enemy is the father of lies. Satan is the father of lies, right? He hides and lies, and he can't expose he can't use anything against you that you've already exposed yourself, right? If you already exposed a certain aspect, a certain part of yourself to others and to the world, then the enemy can't use it because you've already done it, right? And that was my interpretation of it. But Pastor Lindaria said something like that. Pastor Lindaria Watts Mobley. She said that. And she said it just a few days ago, actually. She was speaking on, something that's going on within her personal life. But yeah, I may clip in what she said.
So I get off work and I told God, I got to just walk with you. I got to just talk with you. Whenever I get in this kind of headspace and life just go to life and like a doggone hurricane, because life gonna do what life gonna do, I just got to get back to God so quick and just God, put me under your wings. Psalms 91, just put me under your wings, God. So I'm walking and I hear, I'm still writing your story. I'm still writing your story. It ain't over until it's over. You live to fight another day. You live to win another battle. Although it seems like life and hurricane life is happening to you, you're going to see that I have it happening for you. That the storm actually works for you. It's easier said than done. It's easier said than done. No one knows what life has in store but God. And no one knows what tomorrow brings but God. Guess that's why he say, what does it cause us to worry? What does it cause us to be anxious for? To be anxious for nothing. God, I lay my life in your hands. And I'm an open book, God. And the only way to defeat the devil is with the truth. Because if we live in a lie, the devil roams there. Because he's the father of lies and the author of confusion. And telling lies is playing in his playground, and he's the master teacher. But you are the truth. And telling the truth is in your hands because you're the master teacher there. So God, I look to you. I run to you. I worship you. I know that my story is just still being written. I know that chapters in there that are going to be so great. And I know there's going to be some that's not that great. But each time I know that it's written by you, God. It's written by you. And you have plans to prosper, not to harm me. Plans to have me a great future and a hope. You only want the best. Honestly, you saved the best for last. But God, you got some miracles up there with my name on it. And I'm calling on every single one of them. You got some favor with my name on it. And I'm calling on every single one of them. Continue to write my story, God. Continue to orchestrate my everyday. We got big things to do in the kingdom of heaven. And this is just a story, a chapter in my story. A comma in a sentence. Let's go, God.
But that's what she said, right? And the Holy Spirit has just kind of like been reminding me of that very thing that she said. And like I said, I've been like, really, I haven't really wanted to speak on this topic. Like this, talking about sleep paralysis, that's easy for me, right? But as I progress within this episode, it is going to become a little bit harder for me to speak on a certain topic, because it was very traumatic for me. And not only was it traumatic, I've disassociated because of the traumatic event, right? So I can't really give details like I can with the sleep paralysis, right? And I'm more of a like take notes kind of girl, right? I like order, right? I don't like to speak from a place of not having all my facts, not having all of the details from my stories, right? So it's been really heavy. I've been having a really hard time with God telling me to make this video, right? Okay, so some spirit spouses can enter through, as I said earlier, through either generationally or through things outside of your control, such as SA, the R word, and the M word, right? And this is where it kind of just gets heavy for me. I stated in the PSA trigger warning, this is going to be a trigger warning for some of you. I'm speaking from my own personal experience, right? Nobody knows, because if I'm being completely honest, I realized the Holy Spirit has pointed out to me over these past few days that he has been, just kind of preparing me to talk about this. He's been telling me that I have disassociated. And what is disassociating? Disassociation is a mental process where a person disconnects from their thoughts, feelings, memories, or sense of identity. Honestly, I don't even know where to start. Again, as I said, I really can't give accurate details. And I can't give them like in words, right? Thinking about it, I can kind of, some of it like kind of replays in my head when I think about it. But 99% of the time I am not thinking about it, right? I really don't know how to go about any of this. Okay, Holy Spirit's telling me to start with the dream that I had the other day. So I mentioned earlier when I was talking about sleep paralysis, that the Holy Spirit brought to my attention that the enemy has kind of just been playing, trying to basically do everything to get me to not make this video, right? And one of those things was the Holy Spirit just revealed to me that this morning, today is July 22nd, if I wouldn't have listened to the Holy Spirit this morning and not slept on my back, and would have slept on my back, not listening to the Holy Spirit when he told me not to sleep on my back, I would have experienced sleep paralysis again, right? However, on July 19th, I woke up in complete and utter terror. And as we know, if you wake up from a dream and you're completely terrified, that it's typically not from God, right? Because fear is not of God. God doesn't give you a spirit of fear, right? However, July 19th, I woke up terrified, right? For several minutes, okay, I'm sorry. This, like, talking about this makes me, like, really anxious. Okay. July 19th, I woke up from a dream. I was completely, utterly terrified. I'm not going to read the entire dream, but I am going to read the part that kind of just, like, terrified me. And then, maybe by then, I'll be able to get into the topic. So, the part that kind of just, like, terrified me was I was pulled over and by a cop, and the cop said that they had been looking for me like everywhere, right? Like, he said something to the fact of, and mind you, I don't know who this cop was. It was clearly something spiritual, right? The cop has said that they have been looking for me everywhere. They said something to the fact that there had been like they didn't use the word warrant, but something to that effect. Like, I want to say that they, I can't really remember, y'all. I want to say that they said something like there's like yeah, like they have been looking for me, like there had been like this worldwide search for me, right? And I haven't talked about this much on this page because the Holy Spirit hasn't really led me to speak about that yet. But I've had run-ins with the police, right? So when it comes to the police, like I went through a season where I was constantly like looking over my shoulder, right? For the police, right? And so I to God, I don't have to look over my shoulder anymore. But there are times where the police, like, they scare me, right? Not necessarily they scare me because I'm not scared of them. I don't want to be around them, right? I don't. And yeah. it's probably from my own decision that I made. But I am one of those people. I'd rather not be around a police officer. When a police officer gets behind me, or when I see a police officer in the next lane beside me, I am one of those people who literally starts having anxiety, right? I'm that person, right? Y'all know that meme where the police officer gets behind this car and the car literally just starts swerving, like, because they're anxious, and then the cop ends up pulling them over. That's me. That's how I react when I see police officers. But it's not as bad as it used to be. But yeah, there was a period where I went through a time where I was constantly having to look over my shoulder, right? Running from the police. So police officers already made me uncomfortable, right? So if I'm being honest, that was a very strategic attack from the enemy, right? But the cop pulled me over and basically, was saying something to the fact of they have been looking for me everywhere, right? Like, there was this, like, the whole entire department have been, like, looking for me for this very specific reason. I don't want to talk about the reason. And they told me that, like, I'm trying to tell the dream without saying too much because, yeah. And it was a male cop who pulled me over, but they basically told me to get out the car and that I was going to jail, right? They were trying to arrest me, right? And in my dream, as I'm sure everybody does in real life, I start, like, asking if, like, there's, like, I was asking if I could just, like, if there was anything, like, else, if I could just, like, when I said it, I was asking from a place of, like, can y'all, like, just, like, give me a ticket or something like that? Can you just give me a ticket and, like, I go on about my day, right? I said something to the fact of that, and they were like, he was like, no, like, to talk about it. They told me no, that what I can do, there wasn't anything that I could do, like, they weren't going to give me a ticket, but in order for me to get out of going to jail was I had to have sex with them, right? And with him, it was just one police officer. And mind you, this is in my dream, right? This all happened in my dream. And I called somebody, one very specific person. And this is how I know, like, this was nothing but a demonic dream, because I wouldn't have called this person in real life, right? In real life, my very first thought would have been to start praying, like, in all seriousness. There's stuff going on in this dream anyways, right? Stuff that I typically, like, would not do, right? Well, in the dream, I called this person and they told me that, like, basically like, I mean, like, that's what you have to do to get out of it, do it. And in that moment in the dream, I kind of just started, like, panicking, because it was like, I did not want to go to jail, right? And for those of you who don't know, one of the thorns in my side has always been, like, it has always been, and it's because of, oh my god, a thorn in my side. Something that I've struggled with, a thorn in my side has been having, like, sex before marriage, right? Walking in purity has, like, it was a struggle for me, right? It was a thorn in my side, walking in purity. So I've been in situations where I have been tempted and failed. I have been, like, like, it's a thorn in my side. It's something that I struggle with, right? Well, in my dream, they basically, like, gave me two options. You go to jail or you have sex, right? And again, as like I said, this dream, it was so unlike me, right? In the dream, That's so embarrassing. But good thing it's not real life. In the dream, when they told me this, and after, I had called, I got, advice from someone. I ended up having sex with a police officer in my dream, right? And I felt like in the dream, I felt disgusting. And I remember in the dream, I was saying the Lord's Prayer, right? Which, again, is unlike me because, as I said earlier, and when I was talking about sleep paralysis, and I've talked about in several other times that I've had really crazy dreams, I say the name Jesus. I don't say the Lord's Prayer. I say the name Jesus. So that's how I know, that's one of the ways, the Holy Spirit pointed out to me, Asia, you don't have to be afraid of this dream. You don't have to worry about this, because that wasn't even, that was demonic, Asia. That dream has no power over you, right? Only way it has power over you is if you let it, right? But I did something, having sex, and reacted to it in ways that I don't react, right? I wouldn't have, and typically, when something goes on in my dream that scares me, that I have an ultimatum to do something, I typically call on the name Jesus. In this dream, I did not do that. I didn't call on the name Jesus. I started saying the Lord's Prayer, which is effective, but there's power in the name Jesus, right? So this dream was very unlike me, right? But I woke up in complete and utter terror, right? Scared of being pulled over, scared of breaking my purity, I woke up terrified, right? And I felt violated, right? And the Holy Spirit pointed out to me, fear was the entire, goal for this dream, right? The enemy, you had this dream. Number one, God allowed this dream to prepare me for this topic, right? However, the enemy came in and sowed this dream to scare me so that I wouldn't talk about this, so that I would just be fearful, right? Fearful of the police, fearful of breaking my purity, fearful of being violated, and just feeling disgusted with myself, right? Well, that dream led me into this kind of this spiral, where I was frustrated and upset with God. And I started wondering, asking him it started reminding me of my childhood, right? And as I said before, there are going to be people, some of you who don't even believe what I say. You don't have to believe what I say, right? Test the spirit. But I have not spoke about this in detail with anyone, right? I've told people in a joking way that as a child, I was molested, right? But I haven't said anything to the people who I probably should have told something to, right? Nobody knows in detail, or nobody really knows other than God, right? But that dream started reminding me, it opened the door for the enemy to start bringing to my remembrance how I felt, and sometimes still feel, about being molested as a child, right? And I found myself being upset with God. Literally, I'm so upset with him, because I could not understand for the life of me why he allowed that to happen to me and to go on for so long, right? I never understood it, right? And still to this day, like, I'm still trying to wrap my mind around it, right? It's easier for me to just, like, completely, like, just forget about it, right? But as a kid, I said earlier, I am a person who likes to have, like, order and like to have all of my facts. I am sorry, I do not have all the facts. I cannot give you the age. I can give you the age, like the age brackets around like the age that I was, but I can't tell you how long. I can't tell you what age I was on this day, and if what day it happened. I can't even like told my therapist the person's name. And if I'm being completely honest, the thing that had me like upset with God is the fact that it wasn't just one person. My whole entire life, literally, my whole entire life, I have been the door to sexual immorality has literally been a revolving door in my life, like since I can remember, right? Everywhere I literally, everywhere I went, looking back at my childhood now from spiritual eyes and adult eyes, I was being preyed on in so many different areas of my life. It's actually insane, right? I remember there were times in school where perverse things were introduced to me and it wasn't from any adults, it was from other kids, right? Perverse things were being introduced to me, and I was doing perverse things were being done to me as like, and y'all, I was like, when there were like times in school where perverse things were going on, I was participating in perverse acts were being done to me. And as a child, like, I had no idea what it was, what was going on. I can't tell you the age. I can't even tell you the grade. I know it wasn't kindergarten. I'm pretty sure it wasn't K through 4th grade. I don't think that it was K through 4th grade. I don't know. I really don't know. Like, and for some of y'all, that because I don't know, you're not going to believe me. But if I'm being honest, that was a big part of the reason why I did not want to get on here and talk about it, because I do not have all of the facts. I cannot remember most things, right? And I feared that people would not believe me. And that was part of the reason that I did not want to get on here and talk about this subject. But it doesn't matter if y'all don't believe me or not. I know what I experienced. I know what I went through. I know what I have done, participated in. And like literally since the perverse stuff was going on in school, it's literally like followed me. Like literally everywhere. I've been sexualized literally since. The thing I feel like affected me the most and happened the longest was within my family, right? And there are several times there are several times where I was molested. And who molested me, it honestly really does not matter. It doesn't matter because I know that we don't wrestle against flesh and blood, right? I've given it to God, so who doesn't matter, right? That's not who is a part of my story to tell, but it's a part that I choose not to tell, right? That's something that person is going to have to deal with themselves with God, right? But growing up, for a while, I was molested by a family member. And in 2023, I remember journaling, and because the Holy Spirit has had me, visit this, like start working on this trauma for like a few times, right? And I remember journaling and telling the Holy Spirit how it wasn't just, me being molested. When I got to a certain age, at some point, it just became like me being naive and manipulated, right? I remember there was this one time, and it makes me feel so disgusted, y'all. Like, there was this one time where this person told me that to get me to what's the word that I'm looking for? To get me to participate in these things. This person told me that I had done something to them, right? I'm trying to talk about it without revealing too much. I told on them. I told on them to someone, right? And this person told me that because I told on them, they asked someone else if that would be, I don't even know how to put it. Basically, because I told on them, I should do this. And they told this other person that I told on them, and this other person thought that I should participate as well because I told on them. I hope that makes sense, right? And so I think from then on, it still, I guess it's considered like SA, but it then became like, just like manipulating my mind and like to get me to participate, right? And if I'm being honest, like that spirit has followed me for a while. It showed up in some of my relationships. It showed up in family members. It showed up in plenty of places. And I just want to say that spirit, the incubus and succubus, and really I feel like it's more so like the spirit of Lilith that operates within the person. I think the incubus and succubus is more like in just like the spiritual realm, but the actual spirit that is attached to people is the spirit of Lilith, right? The spirit of Lilith that performs the SA, does the R-ing. That spirit is so nasty. And by nasty, I don't mean as in, just like, it's a truly evil spirit. It has a nasty attachment to you, right? Not just to the person it's dwelling in, but the person that it is assaulting, right? The person that it's harming, right? It has a nasty attachment to you. And so much so, I know this firsthand because, and I mentioned that this spirit has literally followed me my whole entire life, right? This same person, at my grown age, this spirit within this person that essayed me, in my childhood, tried to initiate and manipulate me into participating in acts at my big grown age. I'm 23, right? And this was maybe like probably 2022, right? And it happened a few times, right? This spirit within this person, because it's not, I don't blame the person at all. I blame the spirit. Which is why the name does not matter in this case for me. But this spirit tried to get me to engage and participate in an act at my big grown age, right? So it has like these spirits. These spirits, when I mentioned that they are spiritual spouses and that they're really attached to you, and they're really territorial, they try to slip in any way that they can, right? When that person tried to, when that spirit tried to get me to engage in sexual activities at my big grown age, I want to be very clear. I shouldn't have to say this, but some people are gonna be weird. I 100% shot it down. In fact, I played dumb. I played dumb. I played like I had no idea what they were talking about, right? But I knew 100% what they were talking about. I still to this day have not even addressed this person on this topic. I don't really care to. I deal with things my own way. There are times, like I said, I've jokingly told people that, as a kid, I just told someone like a few months ago, and the person I feel like the Holy Spirit kind of used them to rebuke me. But sometimes my way of coping with things is to laugh at it. And that, I know that's pretty harsh, but that's my way of dealing with things. That's a coping mechanism that I have, is, I laugh through my pain, right? It's better than crying to me in some cases, right? I mentioned before, vulnerability is really hard for me. I don't like all that crying. I don't like getting on here crying and stuff like that. That's not my thing. So I'd rather laugh, right? And I was telling someone, someone said that they had and I never knew this. I'm 23 now. I graduated high school probably 6 years ago. I graduated in 2019, right? Somebody told me that they had heard that this particular person was my first, right? And I was like, what? That's so stupid. And I was like, no, that's not true. I I'm sorry. Like, I told him, like, no, like, that's not the case. I was very much, I'm sorry, I don't mean very much, but I was molested as a child. Like, what are you even talking about? Y'all just be pulling stuff out of y'all butt, right? And the person, like, I believe Holy Spirit used this person to rebuke me, because the person was like, that's not funny. And I mean, like, yeah, it's not funny, but that's you know, how I deal with it, right? I don't like to sit around and cry about it. I don't even like to sit around and think about it. If I'm being honest, I don't even know if I've completed the assignment, because I feel like I'm talking in circles. I don't really have much to say on the topic. I don't want to say much on the topic. I'd rather not say anything at all. I'd rather just give it all to God, right? But I know that this is how I'm supposed to receive my deliverance, right? I don't know how I'm supposed to receive my deliverance. I feel like by embarrassing myself. And that is embarrassing for me. That's embarrassing. I don't know why it's embarrassing. But it is. As a child, I was sexually assaulted. And it followed me. That spirit followed me for a while because I was sexually assaulted. I've been hypersexual, right? I don't really like the word hypersexual, but that's, you know, I feel like more people understand the word hypersexual. But when I say I was hypersexual, I was not just going around sleeping with anybody. So let's just go ahead and nip that in the bud and make that very clear, okay? Yeah, it never gave that, right, for me. But I was like, that door that was open when I was a child led to me willingly having sex in some of my relationships. So, yeah. And when you have sex outside of marriage, spirit spouse. You're creating a spirit spouse, you're creating a soul tie. And it opens the door to having a spirit spouse, right? And I'm telling y'all, I really don't feel like this is a good episode. I don't know what I'm supposed to get on here and say, what I'm supposed to get on here and talk about. Like, am I supposed to get on here and tell y'all every single, like, detail about my story? Because I can't do that. I can't do that. I don't want to do that. I don't even want to remember any of it.
People right now the reason they are so promiscuous is most of the time because they were molested when they were younger. And that spirit that touched them made them promiscuous or made them homosexual or made them lesbian. Now, that's not everybody in every case. Some people weren't touched, but it's a very small percentage of people that weren't touched. Somebody stole your innocence, and the spirit came and made you hyper aroused when it shouldn't have been there at the age of 5 years old.
Y'all, so quick little like break before we get into the next video. I just wanted to, number one, I have to be obedient and do what the Holy Spirit is telling me to do. He told me to come back and make it into each video, so that's what I'm going to do. The Holy Spirit had me create a Go Fund Me, and it helped me move into my resting place, which is the home in which he has called me to. Yeah, he had me make a video on it, which is on my personal YouTube account. So if you want to know how this came about, you go watch this video. That's located on my personal YouTube account. But he had me create a GoFundMe so that I could raise money to help me move into my home. So if you guys would like to sow a seed and help me to move into my home, the link to my GoFundMe and the link to my Linktree will be in the description box down below, and I will probably put it in the comment section as well, and you can just copy and paste those links into the URL and go from there. And I just want to say that to those of you who sow, and to those of you who, even if you don't sow financially, you're just here just watching this video, I'm very thankful, and I want to thank you guys. So yeah, until the next episode, bye.